up, guys, as we dive into the jaw-dropping and unbelievable 10 things you didn't know about the Tate Brothers that'll leave you shook. Rough beginnings. I know you can't wait, but this won't be interesting if we don't start from the beginning, will it? What was life like for Andrew and Tristan before becoming internet superstars? Did they always have that intense, no-filter energy? Or did their chaotic childhood shape them into the boundary-pushing rebels that they are today? Picture this. Two young boys from the rough streets of Luton, England. Not the nicest area if you know what I mean. Surrounded by struggle, poverty, and plenty of shady characters. The kind of environment that would make any kid grow up hard and hungry for more out of life. Chess warfare upbringing. In those sketchy neighborhoods, every day was a fight for survival. But little Andrew and Tristan were smart. They realized pretty early that brute force alone wouldn't be enough. Success came down to strategy, reading people and situations to win opponents. Where'd those next-level mind games come from, you ask? From none other than their very own father, a semi-pro chess player who instilled that art of psychology warfare into their sons from day one. He dropped game on them about sacrificing pawns, sizing up weaknesses, and always stayed 2 moves ahead of your adversary. Deep stuff for some kids, right? But those intense mental skills Andrew and Tristan learned by observing their dad's chess mastery would prove vital down to the line when they started building their disruptive online empire.
I remember my dad's lessons. My dad would have been furious if I fucked up the financial stability of the family and of my mother and of my brother to just go to his funeral. My dad knew I loved him. I spoke to him every single day. And from what he taught me, he's a chess player. He's a logical man, right? Get your business running, then come to the grave, do it that way. So of course I would have rather, if I could give all this up now to get my dad back, of course I would. But I can't, right?
Cobra Tate. Speaking of fighting, let's talk about how the Tate brothers weren't just sharpening their brains, but their actual hands and bodies too. From young ages, they got tied up in the seedy underworld of underground brawling and street fights. I'm talking bare-knuckle, no-holds-bar throwdowns. Rumor has it, a super young Andrew, we're talking preteens here, almost got killed after getting way too deep into the gritty life. Dude was barely clinging to life after a near-fatal brawl with a vicious crew from a rival hood. That traumatic brush with death was a wake-up call for him though. This kickstarted a next-level obsession with martial arts, fitness, and self-mastery to become an unstoppable force that would never be defeated again. Fast forward a few years, and Andrew absolutely dominated the underground fight scene under his infamous Cobra Tate persona. A menacing figure who could legit end somebody with his bare hands if need be. But unfortunately, a crippling injury made him hang up the fight gloves forever. Digital disruptors. With his physical fighting prime cut short, Andrew had to find another outlet to pour his relentless competitive energy and hustle into. So he and Tristan turned their attention to a new battlefield, the online business world. At first, their early moves in the realm were, let's just say, unconventional and eyebrow-raising, to put it lightly. Like starting a webcam company, or who knows what other under-the-radar endeavors. These guys were always down to push boundaries from day one. But gradually, the brothers figured out how to legit their side hustles by getting into coaching, online courses, and various digital entrepreneurship plays. Every move was calculated and strategic, all about winning the competition using those old chess tactics their dad drilled into them.
So I'm trying to teach these women, and the women kept fucking it up. So I said to them, it's like, you know what, fuck it. I'm taking over. So what I did is I unplugged their keyboards and plugged a new one in from me behind the screen. So the chicks would sit there and hit a keyboard that wasn't plugged in. And me and my brother, and eventually some staff I trained, would do all the talking. The girls were just pure, just famoosers, just laughing and doing this, their titties out.
Alleged high-stakes heist. Of course, in true Tate fashion, their path to success online was filled with controversy, chaos, and a trail of burned bridges. Like the time they allegedly got tied up in some high-stakes Ocean's 11 type heist scene. Only for it to go totally sideways, because you know these dudes don't do anything calmly. The story goes they cooked up an ultra-risky scheme to boost some priceless, possibly mystical artifacts from a powerful crime syndicate. Why'd they do it? Who knows with the Tates? Sometimes it seems that they just can't resist causing pandemonium just for the thrill. Whether that wildly illegal antic actually happened or not, versus what the law and shady underground activity became par for the course. Andrew and Tristan were addicted to the adrenaline rush of living life on the edge, unapologetically doing them no matter how controversial.
I know women because I made a lot of money for women. Let me tell you something. I've been attacked plenty of times, and I've talked about this in another video already, but they are absolutely feeble.
Luxury athlete ballers. But along their journey of building a legit online business came another guilty pleasure for the brothers, a serious appetite for living the lavish, ludicrously expensive lifestyle. We're talking buying insane car collections filled with Ferraris, Lambos, you name it, spending millions like it's no thing. Word is they got this ultra-exclusive palatial mansion too, filled with just about every luxury imaginable. Not your average influencer's trap house, that's for sure. When they weren't blowing their fortunes on dream whips and crib swag, Andrew and Tristan were constantly pushing their minds and bodies to the absolute limit with extreme fitness regimens. I'm talking next-level psycho-intense physical training routines combining elements of old-school martial arts mastery with cutting-edge sports science, sweating it out hard in bunkers, underground lairs, wherever they could optimize their regimen for total mind-body dominance. See, the Tate brothers never lost the obsession with physical perfection and self-mastery, dating back to their underground fighting days. That unyielding drive to achieve peak conditioning is ingrained in their DNA at this point. Once they leveled up with their wealth and fame, Andrew and Tristan only invested more time and resources into optimizing their physical capabilities through these intense training programs. It's like they knew how crucial being fine-tuned beast mode weapons would be for the next stages of their journey. Viral anti-woke philosophers. Speaking of the next stages, that's where their boundary-defying, no-filter philosophies and hot takes started going ultra-viral and igniting societal firestorms. When it comes to their stances on hot-button topics around gender roles, masculinity ideals, and overall anti-woke soapboxing, let's just say the Tates never did know when to bite their tongues. Were they obnoxious misogynists spewing toxic ideologies as many claimed? Or were they free thinkers who dared to share uncomfortable truths that woke society couldn't handle? Those debates raged endlessly as their platform exploded with rabid fans and diehard haters. At the end of the day, whether you agree with their rhetoric or not, the brothers clearly tapped into a primal, unapologetic energy that struck a major nerve. They weren't timid or PC at all, just uncensored, id-fueled raw expression of their worldviews. For all their outrageous antics grabbing attention, one dimension of the Tates that flew under the radar was their low-key generosity and efforts to pour back into uplifting communities from where they came. Yeah, these hyper-intense alpha bros may not seem like the most charitable souls on the surface, but apparently behind the scenes, Andrew and Tristan are down to use their massive platforms and resources to create opportunities for underprivileged youth and aspiring entrepreneurs trying to beat the odds. Honestly though, with how unpredictable, volatile, and chaotic these dudes' whole operations are, who's to say if those good-hearted efforts are actually consistent or legit? Their barely contained mania could just as easily undermine anything positive in a hot second.
Life for a man is harder than life for a woman. We need to have a lot of shit to be an important man. To be a woman, you need makeup. If you're truly beautiful, you don't need anything else. I've been on boats in Dubai with 19-year-old Moldovan girls. The guy who got that boat needed $100 million. That bitch, makeup. Same boat. That's how hard it is.
Now, let's talk relationships and the Tates' love lives, because, oh man, this is where things really get spicy and unhinged, even for their standards. The Tate brothers' love lives. For starters, Andrew's recent divorce from his influencer ex-wife was an absolute social media shit show on a level you can't even imagine. Two larger-than-life personalities imploding in a very public, very dramatic, very savage way. Peak internet chaos porn right there. But little bro Tristan's exploits in the bedroom might somehow manage to outlevel Andrew's. Rumors of some sort of polyamorous cult-like harem situation with multiple side chicks definitely raises a ton of questions about what exactly is going down in the Tate mansion. At the same time though, you've got to give these two players credit for pioneering some unapologetic new frontier when it comes to open relationships and rejecting traditional dating scripts. Are their setups ideal, moral, safe? That's not for me to judge. Just saying they clearly have zero qualms about breaking norms. But wait fam, that's not even the craziest aspect of their whole saga. Let me take you back well before the fame, money, and antics to set the scene. Street-forged rebels. In their youth, Andrew and Tristan were basically living warrior monk lifestyles. No joke. While other kids were outside playing, these two were holed up indoors sharpening their bodies and minds for some intense, prolific purpose only they knew about. We're talking researching martial arts, combat techniques from elite forces around the world, ancient warrior codes of ethics, basically any knowledge sources to optimize their physical lethality and spiritual fortitude, an obsessive pursuit of badass monkhood. Throw in their penchant for studying psychological warfare through the lens of strategy games, and it starts to make sense why Andrew and Tristan have remained so calculated and mainly resolute through the chaos. Their entire lifestyle from childhood prepared them for intense conquest. What exactly were the brothers so intensely training to conquer, you ask? Was it just about fighting or gaining money from online business? Think way bigger picture. These dudes were on a mission to totally subvert expectations and demolish societal conditioning at all levels. So whenever you see them stubbornly double down on shock value statements or blindly barrel through rooms, just know that that's the mentality they've been cultivating since day one. A supreme lack of giving an F. No compromises, no filters. Catalyst for cultural revolution. Now, conspiracy theory time. There's a certain sect of hardcore Tate fans who believe Andrew and Tristan's endgame is to ultimately kickstart some kind of massive cultural shift or revolution based on their radically authentic principles. Not just fame or money, a complete philosophical overhaul of how men and society operate. It sounds ridiculous, I know. But think about how effortlessly these two internet celebs have engineered consistent viral controversy and outrage already. Their messaging and archetypes are designed to be hyperpolarizing psychological weapons to provoke some kind of widespread awakening. Whether you buy into that or just think that the brothers are obnoxious trolls, one thing is undeniable. The Tates are playing a whole different mind game on a higher plane than their peers or critics even realize. Every decision, statement, and stunt has a deeper purpose mapped out far in advance like a brilliant chess strategy. So where do we go from here, fam? How far will Andrew and Tristan Tate take their shock and awe campaign to usher in new age ideals? Will they sustain global relevance or flare out like so many viral stars before them? I don't have a crystal ball, but I do know one thing. We're only beginning to scratch the surface of this wild phenomenon. Brace yourselves, because the saga of the Tate Brothers is an emotional roller coaster ride that'll keep topping itself with more unpredictable twists, turns, and mind-blowing surprises. No matter what, these mavericks live by their own codes. They don't give a damn what the mainstream thinks or tells them. For better or for worse, that disruptive, forward-pushing energy is going to keep fueling them until they reach whatever unconventional endgame they have in mind. As we come to the end of this video, get ready for one hell of a show, folks. It's about to get even crazier out here in these internet streets. The Tate takeover is just getting started.